Hi, I'm Ellie, flower farmer here at Barkston Flower Farm in North Yorkshire. I've been down at the field this weekend doing a few jobs, so I thought I'd take you behind the scenes and also give a bit of introductions. If you haven't visited us here before, I thought I would tell you a little bit more about the field, how we started. We've only been open since July 2025, so what we got, what happened last year, what we've got going on this year. And even though there's not a huge amount of flowers to show you because it's still early in the year, I thought I'd give you a little bit of a tour and tell you how about our land, our plot, which will hopefully be interesting if you are just starting to flower. Sorry, the rain has just started to come down. So I thought it'd be interesting for you if you are thinking about getting into flower farming. So maybe this would be a really good introduction to a kind of a newer flower farm. And also if you are if you have an allotment and you're growing cut flowers or in your garden, hopefully we can give you some ideas for some things that work really well. You're also going to see on this channel a lot of things that don't work very well. This is all about honesty. This is all about what it's really like here on the field. So there'll be plenty of that. And here's a good example. It's been a lovely all day and the heavens have just opened. I'm going to be taking videos right across the weekend, so and I will pull them together into a clip for YouTube. So if you see random bits where it's really sunny, really rainy, and it doesn't quite gel, it's because it's been done over the full weekend. So let's see how we get on. Meanwhile, this isn't exactly ideal coming to the field on the weekend after some heavy winds this week and not being able to get up here, and the low tunnel has totally collapsed. But my ranunculus are looking really strong, which is just brilliant. I'm not sure anyone will have survived. And, oh, they have! Look at that. So you see, and I'm really surprised at this because I expected our mouse to come and demolish them if the tunnel fails, but it hasn't. So, what a relief. And also, I think this shows I really need to work on my construction skills. So one of the many jobs that I've got to do this weekend is to find some space for some shrubs. I'll show you those in a bit. But first, I need to get the bed cleared. It's had some flowers in previously, so I'm going to get that bed cleared. And a nice fresh layer of compost, a mix of household waste compost and mushroom compost, because that's what I've got. And get a layer of that on and get cracking and get these shrubs in. So now that the bed is all ready to go with some, it's all nice and weeded and fresh compost on, I can start planting in. Now I've gone for a couple of lavender plants. Now the reason I've gone for these particular lavender plants that are called Phenomenal is because they are hopefully going to give me really nice long stems, and that'll be ideal for picky owners, I think. Should be really easy to pick from. It's going to smell incredible in the field, and oh, I just can't wait. And also, they should be really, really good for drying, and I should get a really, really nice crop that can be dried, not just for me, but also if people wanted to come pick their own to then dry, you know, if they wanted to take it out the vases and dry it off, then they absolutely can do as well. So that's one of my plans, is to get to have sorts of plants with multitude purposes in the field. So when you come and you pick, you're not just, you know, you don't have to just come and pick for your vase, you don't have to just come and pick for your events. You can also come and pick for a particular purpose, like drying. So lavender, I'm hoping, will be really good for that. And then I also have to go in here some very sad looking mint. Now, the fact that I can smell this and it smells incredible tells me that these plants are absolutely fine, but they do have a bit of a story. I bought these last summer, which is why they look so incredibly sad, but they're mint and they're tough, and I know they'll be fine. The reason I bought them was because the dahlia bed was getting, there was a few dahlias in dahlia bed that were getting absolutely just like stripped by wasps. Now, wasps will strip the dahlia stems for its sap, and I didn't want to hurt the wasps. And anyway, they could hurt me a lot more than I could hurt them. They were just doing their thing. They were hungry, and it was food. It was a food source for them, and I wasn't gonna, you know, do anything that would harm them, but I wanted to deter them. So I bought these mint plants because I trusted AI, and AI told me that it would deter them, and I can tell you for a fact it didn't. So anyway, so I've got all these nice mint plants, and you know what, it's not a failure because I've got nice mint plants to go in my bed. So I'm going to pop these in as well. Now, I'm hoping again that these will grow quite big. I'm hoping I've got enough space in the bed as is that I've cleared for these plants. If not, then some of them might have to stay in their pots for another couple of weeks until I make a bit more room, but that's fine. This particular one is lemon mint. Oh, it's just divine, absolutely divine. So what have we got? Really quickly. Oh. So we've got orange mint, lemon mint, red mint, which is beautiful leaves, coloured leaves, pineapple mint, black peppermint, which is my favourite, black currant mint, Spanish mint. This is going to be absolutely gorgeous. Oh, and I can't wait to smell these babies when they've got into like proper full size. So as you just saw, my tripod just totally fell over. But they're all in and they're all looking really happy. Actually, what was really interesting was on some of the plants, there's a lot more new growth than I think I'd realised when they were in the pots, which is very exciting. Now, a lot of people would probably recoil in horror at having mint in a cut flower patch, and I totally hear you, because they are very vigorous and can be really quite aggressive, taking over the garden a bit. But I have it on good authority, not AI, that as long as you're cutting from them pretty frequently, they should be okay. I guess we'll find out, won't we? Also, ideally, you wouldn't normally put mint in a bed, the same bed as lavender, because they need very, very different conditions. And actually, the soil here is probably a lot more nutritious than the lavender's going to want. Lavender likes really free draining, very poor soil, and this is very nutrient rich soil. So it's not ideal conditions. But I kind of have the mentality, you know, that if something's meant to survive here, it will. And if it's not, then it won't. And I'm not going to change the soil structure for the sake of changing it. I'm happy to put in organic matter into the soil and improve the soil health. I don't want to be changing it for the sake of, like I say, for the sake of changing it. because no matter what I do, Mother Nature is going to take this back. She's always going to undo my hard work. That's kind of the point. So if something isn't meant to survive here, it won't survive here, and I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'll just try something else. And that's one of the beautiful things about flower farming when you still have a full-time job, is you can be quite experimental. So while this isn't ideal for lavender, and also it's not ideal to have a load of mint all together right next to them, then we'll just see what happens. So we're on just under half an acre here, and you can see that we have fenced off the area. That was really important for us because the trees at the back contain nearly a dozen, I think, deer, and it was really important for us to be able to protect our crop from the get-go, really. So the first thing we had to do after ploughing the land was to get the fence up. That was the most important thing. So the field was ploughed in, I think, March, April time last year. The fence went up middle of May, and it was the perfect timing, really, because those growers among you will know that that's really when you're ready to start planting out. It's our last frost date, the 20th of May, and that's the date that this fence started going up. So we have a full parameter of deer fencing all the way around. It's really well protected. And we also have a skirt of rabbit proofing as well, because there's dozens, probably hundreds of rabbits in this area as well. And trust me when I tell you, the amount of rabbit droppings around this fence tells me that so far, I don't want to jinx it, but so far it's doing a very good job of protecting what's in here. And this field has been in my family for generations, for a few generations now. And it's such an honour to be able to farm on here in a very, very different way. I'm not a farmer. I'm a I work in the public sector. And although this is my dream to become a full-time flower farmer, right now I am doing this on top of my full-time job. And I might talk a bit more about that if that's helpful for people to understand kind of how sort of juggling something at this scale with a full-time job, because it can be very interesting. And I know anyone who is thinking of setting up a flower farm, that might be something of interest to you. But if not, that's fine. I'll just keep on talking about what we have here. So I'm going to show you a little bit more about the field and some of the things that I've been getting up to over the winter, and some really exciting things that I can't wait to show you. So before I start showing you the things that I've put in over winter, which I'm really excited about, I wanted to talk a little bit more about how we set the field up. The sun is in my eyes, which is amazing. It's the first time this year. But also, I'd be squinting at you if I didn't have a hood up, so I'm having to put it up. But anyway, so I wanted to talk a little bit more about how we set the field up. So traditionally, if you are, for flower farmers, the ideal is to have your beds quite close together with just enough space to sort of get up and down, maybe get a mower up and down if you have grass paths. But you don't want a huge amount of space between, because you want your space to be as productive as possible and as many flowers as possible to sell. That's kind of the point, isn't it? But actually, we set up as a pick your own flower farm. So we're not wildflowers here. We are cut flowers. We do grow everything from feverfew and cosmos and dahlias and with chrysanthemums and everything traditionally that you would want from a cut flower patch, but it is predominantly pick your own. So we kept our paths really, really wide, and I'll tell you what, it was absolutely brilliant last summer because it worked really, really well. People were able to sort of pass freely between each other, meander around, and because we had a lot of, you know, kind of a lot of one variety and different colours, different textures, yes, and different plants, but we made sure that there was enough of things to get around, and also having dotted bits about, which was completely by accident, by the way. I hadn't intended to do that, but that worked really well as well because it meant that people weren't kind of bumping into each other and we were really able to enjoy the space. That's why I wanted to do Pick Your Own, because we wanted to share this with people. It's such a wonderful space, and yes, it doesn't look like much now as we are sort of entering into spring, but there is so much to see here even now, and it's a shame that, you know, we haven't really got any reason to open up at the moment because it would be lovely to share it. So that's why I'm going to make the most of YouTube to show you what's going on. We do have raised beds, which have been an absolute it's just been brilliant. If you are growing your own cut flowers, or you are opening up a flower farm and you're on clay soil, I really do recommend raised beds if you can raise them, whether you're doing no dig or like us, we didn't do no dig to start this up, but for a number of reasons. But what we did do was we put these raised beds in, and they have been a lifesaver this winter. The water has been able to drain off, which has stopped the plants just getting absolutely, you know, waterlogged. So it's allowed the water to run off the beds. And we do have these trenches. They kind of were naturally made really from putting the beds in, so don't have to worry about that. But if they hadn't been, we would have put them in. But the raised beds have been an absolute lifesaver this winter. We are on clay soil. It has felt like a swimming pool at times over winter, I'm not going to lie, because it does hold on to the water. So, but the raised beds have been an absolute lifesaver. So I definitely recommend raising your beds if you can. Right, let's go and have a look at what we've got. So one of the things that I did in the autumn was go on a business course. And now that might sound like a really strange thing to be mentioning when I'm sat behind a bed of roses, but it's really important because as part of the course, we had to do we didn't have to do, but we could take part in a bit of a competition. I say a little bit of a competition. I think it was called the big competition, the big comp. But it was the most amazing business course. It was run by a company called Enterprise Cube, and the course was Strive. You may have heard about it. You may have heard about it if you are part of your local business growth hub, which is all sort of funded by the local authority. If you are starting a business and you haven't reached out to your local authority and looked at their business hub, please do. You would be amazed at what they have on offer to support small businesses, and it's a world that I didn't know existed until last summer. And yeah, anyway, I could talk about it for ages, but maybe for York and North Yorkshire I'll pop the link to the growth hub in the description, because it was absolutely eye-opening and sort of life-changing for me to go on that course, really. But one of the things, going back to the reason that I'm sat by a bed of roses talking about a business course, is because we did this big competition, and as part of that we had to sort of, you know, produce our cash flows and finesse our business plans, and also talk about our marketing as well. And I'm so proud to say they had a number of awards available, and I'm so proud to say that I won one for our little business, our little flower farm, which I'm so proud of. And as part of that, I got a little grant which has paid for our roses and our dahlias for this season. So I mean, how exciting is that? And I'm going to stand up because I have been bent over beds all weekend weeding and my legs are really aching. Sorry about that. But I'm going to show you these roses because I only put them in, I think, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they are loving it here. They're so happy. So I'm going to show you these roses. And here we are. We have 2 beds of beautiful roses thanks to the team at Strive. And they, like I say, they've only been in a few weeks and they are already starting to go. They're loving it, absolutely loving it here. We've got a number of different varieties. That's You're Beautiful, and I'm sure she will be when she blooms. And Elizabeth of Plymouth. And I've gone for kind of a real variety of colour. These, we're not going to have a huge amount of roses to start with, so I've got sort of corally peaches, pinks. I've got a really deep dark red. This is a white one. Iceberg, like a pure white colour, which I know will be really popular. And yeah, you can see there they are budding up. Now these won't be ready to be picked this year, sadly. We might get sort of one or two stems that we can sort of, I mean, they'll need to be picked and pruned. But in a couple of years' time, they'll be ready for our pickers to really enjoy. And I'm dead excited about this. So there you go. And definitely check out the Strive course if you can. Thank you so much for joining me on the field this weekend. It has been an absolute pleasure to show you around. If you would like to see more about what I get up to on the flower farm as I build it up again for the 2026 season, please do remember to subscribe and hit the bell button as well, because that will let you know when I've got a new video uploaded. If there's anything you would like to see in particular, please pop it into the comments. I'll make sure to put the link in for the local growth hub for here, which is York and North Yorkshire, for any small business owners or anyone thinking about getting into small businesses and growing your own small business. And I can't wait to see you here on the field again very soon. Thank you.